It's the Flow Man, joined by none other than Coleman Schache, the great man from the Southern Mallee Giants. And I've just got to get a question here from one of the colleagues here. They're just saying you better ask Coleman about the crop on the southern side of the town on the road to Rainbow. So here he is. Coleman Schache, how are you going?
Good, thanks, Flow Man. I'm just trying to work out where you're talking there.
All right. Where we've got the new bunkers on the outskirts of the lovely, lovely road leading out to Rainbow, which I've got to tell you, you bump around a bit on that road, particularly when your 92-year-old mother-in-law is with you. But she was a bit bumpy when I travelled there this week and a bit wet. But there's a lovely crop there. I believe it might be the Hopeton Footy Club's crop.
Righto. No, I don't know about that. 100% sure. I reckon there's some Landrigans and Cyclops out that way, which they'll have some thumping crops, I'm sure. So probably one of their crops I'd say you're looking at.
I was looking at a lot of them. I tell you what, my 92-year-old mother-in-law on the trip, she says, you know a bit about cropping? I said, no, I don't know nothing about it. The blokes I interview on the radio tell me all about it, but she
I'm not sure we know any more than you.
A bit of rust about the at the moment, but have you got any of that out your way?
Yeah, it's sort of the flavour of the year. A bit of rust and diseases in the paddock. So yeah, obviously a bit more moisture around in the springtime than we're used to over the last few years, and it just creates a few different problems that we haven't seen in the past. Recently in my time anyway. So yeah, always something to get your head around.
Oh, getting your head around it. Well, getting your head around, I know you're not playing finals footy, but there is a big event this week. You blokes have normally been in the Grandy in the last years, and so when there's been the association best and fairest Toohey medal, you blokes have been on the waters and the cokes, but you might get a bus together and end up down there at the big count.
You're right, actually. Normally get a bus down and a few of the Horsham ones, obviously down in Horsham, they hold it, so it's normally a pretty good night. And normally on the waters, which something different this year, so we might be able to relax, let the hair down a bit more, and it'd be nice to watch a couple of the boys hopefully poll a few votes.
Yeah, talking about polling the votes, I reckon if I was to pick one, Sam White would be one of mine, Luke Marnie would be another. I reckon they've been in most of your games and been in your best players and have played most of the season, but I don't think the winner's going to come from the Orange Men.
No, that's probably right. We probably lost few too many games through the middle patch there to get a winner, although, there'll be definitely some games where we'll get the three votes. So, like you said, Sam White, Joshy Webster, and Luke Marnie, probably our most consistent players throughout the year. And if you draw back on the history of the award, it will most likely be Luke Marnie will be my tip to get the most votes. In and under midfielder, racks it up and kicks goals. So he'll probably be odds on to be the best performer from the Giants.
I think so. I reckon yourself, even though you missed a lot of games, you polled pretty well, I reckon, in the early games, maybe a couple in the latter games to score a few, because I think that's what it's going to be for the Southern Mallee Giants in terms of your top 3 or 4 vote getters. But that then brings me to the twos. I don't think anybody from the twos is going to win it, but I reckon would one of the Cara boys, I think, has been very good there this year.
Yeah, Damo Cara, he's probably been our most consistent twos player, and Bodie Colbert's obviously been in and out of the seniors and reserves. So, if we're going to poll some votes, in the games that were close, Bodie was sort of one of our better players consistently there. So him and Damo, midfielders, being the better midfielders in the reserves, probably look to poll the most votes for us.
I reckon if they read out any of your young guns, maybe Ben McGee might get the odd vote, and perhaps even Decky Brown could poll one or so for one or two good performances that saw him get promoted to senior footy. But it's going to be good to see how the Giants boys do poll there at the medal count, and then of course how you go in the best and fairest, which we'll talk to you about next week when we wrap up the season. Having a look then as we go to the games, and this is a game on for Wimmera football. You blokes get to watch it. Ararat plays Stall. You played both of them through the year. Who do you think is the better side of the two, Coleman?
Yeah, so they're a bit of a big rivalry between those two clubs, obviously just down the road from each other on the southern end of the league. So I know there's a bit of hatred between them two. So it'll be a hot contest, I reckon. We not yet. Ararat, they defeated us both times, and we obviously bet Stall later in the year, and they beat us earlier in the year. So a big difference in the two teams. Ararat, they like to run it and chip the ball, and a high possession sort of team, and get it on the outside. Whereas Stall, they're sort of more contested type players, get numbers back really well behind the ball. They defend really well, and then they can rebound as well. So it'll be a great game to watch. I'm going to lean towards Ararat just with the work they've done this year. They've probably just been a bit more consistent over the larger part of the year. In saying that, it's all big gun midfielders, Tommy Eckel, Cam Kimber in there. If they can get on top and hit the scoreboard like they have been, they'll put a bit of pressure on the Rats. But we'll tip with the Rats just to be a bit too quick and strong.
Okay, now, last week the Rats had Minyat Matoa, who nailed them in the last quarter. The Rats were right in it at three-quarter time. That's quite significant, I think. Minyat Matoa were absolutely dominated, I should say. And talking a bit earlier to Scotty, he said there was a bit of undisciplined effort from Ararat, where they did some indiscretions and that the umpires picked, and Minyat Matoa then went away with it. They're going to have to watch that because Stall are going to be as feisty and maybe even more so. So that could be where the game is won. That it's that discipline, isn't it, Coleman? And I'm saying that to you because I think you would be one of the cleanest, most disciplined players around that doesn't throw the punches, doesn't call the umpires, and that's why you've polled a lot of votes over the years. But what is it like when you're in the heat of battle to hold your cool and not grab the other guy's jumper in frustration and then give away that 50 metre?
Yeah, it's a fine line that you've touched on there. I suppose you want to stick up for your mates and you want to fly the flag, but if you've got the momentum and got the footy, you don't want to give away a free kick or reverse free kick and give away a 50. So yeah, it's a fine line there, and you're right. It can be changed games, especially in finals when they're close and it's heated. If you lose your cool, you can easily change the momentum of the game with one silly free kick and one silly 50-metre penalty. So it will, it's hard to say it'll have a bearing on the result, but it definitely can be the change of momentum at times. So I'd say Ararat will be looking to improve their discipline from last week then, if that was the case, and then make sure that they're right on top of that area of their game.
Yeah, good comment. Stall, meanwhile, had a really, really good first half. They were led by 5 goals. They put away the D's, who fought back as hard as they possibly could, but just never, ever looked like they were going to beat Stall. This was Stall at its best, and we haven't seen it, but can they match up with Mitch Thorpe kicking goals? Tom Eckel, the coach, can they match up okay and kick a score? It looks to me like they can. I reckon they can kick goals and kick probably a bigger score. And I'm actually sliding towards Stall in a little upset here, and Ararat going out in straight sets, would you believe?
Yeah, no, don't mind your tip there. It's obviously going to be a live ball game. That's right. That's what Stall's at their best. They nullified the Demons last week, kept them to under 10 goals or under 60 points. And that's why they won. So like we sort of touched on before, they get back and defend really well and can really just shut down the opposition's dangerous players. Like I think they obviously influenced Deke Roberts and sort of the Demons, X-factor players, which went a long way to winning the game. So if they can do that to Ararat and hit the scoreboard, like you said, with Mitch Thorpe, he'll take some shutting down up forward from Ararat. But yeah, no, I'm going to tip against you there. I just think Ararat will have the cattle to kick a winning score.
Oh, yes, it's a beauty and a good game. The feeling around your club in just talking to your mates, watching that you're not in it, what has that done? Any fire in the belly? Any recruits that you can even drop onto the flow, man, for a bit of hope for all of those orange men out there?
No, I've got no groundbreaking stories to drop for you, Fly Man, sorry. Just to... trying to maintain, the squad as much as we can at the moment. So that's the main thing, and keeping everyone together. Like I said, we've got our vote count in a couple of weeks' time, and it'd be good to get everyone together for a beer and just close up the season. So it is disappointing. Nearly closer to the start of pre-season than we were to the end of last season now. So. Yeah. It's a bit of rare territory for us, but always everyone gets their turn, and hopefully it does put a bit of fire in the belly. Like the weather at this time of the year is always phenomenal, and the grounds are looking green, and yeah, smell fresh cut grass. You want to be out there playing, and it's jealous watching the netballers, but yeah, it's been good to actually get a chance to watch them. They fighting hard at the moment, and then they've got a big challenge on their hands against the Saints this week, which touched them up pretty well a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully they can bounce back and keep the Giants alive and get a team in the grand final.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Down at Sunday at Warwick Nabil, it is a big one. The girls will be running out onto the court there, and I know that the footy fellas are going to get out in number and support them. You and your girls have a great weekend.
Yeah, be intrigued to hear your thoughts next week.
Certainly will, mate. We've run out of time, but all the very best to your club this weekend in netball. And as always, you've been a really great servant of the club to keep us informed on the SMG report here on The Flow. You have a great weekend.
I appreciate it, Flo, man.